Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. I'm Iron Panda. Today we're going to be going through OBS Studio, how to set it up, and how to make it look professional. So I've been using OBS Studio ever since I switched to the PC from PS4, and even after being exposed to streaming softwares like XSplit and Streamlabs OBS, I still remain and use to this day Streamlabs OBS because I personally believe it is the best software out of all of them. So of course, once you launch Streamlabs OBS, you're going to see a blank software. You're going to see nothing up on the screen on our display. We're going to see a blank scene, source, audio mixer, and an ability to have a scene transition, and then our controls on the right. So immediately what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the settings under the controls, and you're going to see a bunch of different categories for us to change. The general setting is a quality of life setting, really nothing that we do end up changing here. So moving on to our stream, this is only the thing that we're going to be connecting our service to. So if you stream on Twitch or YouTube, Facebook, Restream, whatever you're going to do under the service, you're going to choose which software or platform that you stream on. Then you're going to go to the server. You can make it recommended. I would make it recommended just because it connects you to the nearest server. And you can also connect your account. If not, if you disconnect your account when signing in, you can use a stream key. I would personally sign in if you're able to. If not, the stream key is the way to go. If you stream on Twitch, it's under your creator dashboard. If you stream on YouTube, it's under your live dashboard. Alright, moving on to the output, this is when it is really going to matter. Make sure that your output mode is on advanced. If you put it on simple, it's not going to be as customized, and you want to make sure that everything that you're streaming through is customized. So under the streaming category that we have right here, we're going to go ahead and make sure that we have our encoder. You can either use NVIDIA NVENC H.264 new or X264. I personally use NVIDIA because that is streaming and encoding through your GPU, so your graphics card. If you do have a Ryzen or a CPU, so your central processing unit, that has maybe 6 cores or 8 cores, so a Ryzen most likely, or a high level Intel, you can use the X264, but generally most people do use the NVIDIA NVENC H.264. If there is the option to have the non-new or the new, make sure you go with the new one. The new one does process better. Under our rate control, make sure that we set it at CBR. That's what I use. Most people use that as well. Our bitrate generally depends on your internet. So if you check under your internet speed test, you can see your upload speed. You want to make sure that if you're streaming at 720, you want to have at least 3500 to 6500 bitrate. That is generally what is recommended. I personally set it at 4500 just because my internet sometimes fluctuates and has some issues. Our keyframe interval, most people like to set it at 0. I would personally set it at 2 just so that it's locked there. Our preset is going to be dependent on what you use to encode. If you stream with your GPU or CPU, that will be the preset. So you want to make sure that you set it at what card that you have. So I have a GTX 1070 that performs pretty decently, but I don't want to make it too strained from when I'm also gaming and streaming. So I'll set it at quality. You can set it at max quality if you have a 20 series card, but if you have a 10 series card, quality is usually the safest way to go. Make our profile high. I do turn on look ahead and psycho visual tuning. Our GPU we set at 0, and our max B frames we set at 2. And make sure to click apply for any changes that you do on the bottom right. Alright, so moving on, we're going to go ahead to our audio. And once you see our audio, you can change your sample rate from 44.1 kilohertz to 48 kilohertz. I would just leave it at 44.1. I'm pretty sure that's actually the default. You can do 48, but there's no real significant difference. Make sure that you can change your channel, leave it to stereo, that's what I set it on. You can choose your devices for whatever desktop audio that you have. So me personally, I use my Astro A50, and then my mic you would choose for whatever you use, the Blue Snowball, or if you use voice mod like me and the audio from your Snowball runs through voice mod, you go ahead and click that. Make sure to click apply, and you can see that once we do so, we have our audio mixer on the bottom that you can see when we're talking, our mic/aux is actually going up and down, and we have a desktop audio that will show for any audio that is going through our desktop. Everything else you can go ahead and leave. If you want some hotkeys for your OBS Studio, you can include it to mute or enable push to mute, push to talk, whatever you want. Unless you do have a Stream Deck, I would do it through the Stream Deck preferably. Alright, so moving on to video, you do see that we have our base canvas resolution, so make sure that this is whatever your monitor is. So I have a 2K resolution monitor, so we're going to do 2560 by 1440, making sure that we keep up with the aspect ratio for 16:9, so a basic monitor screen, unless yours is a different monitor. Then the output scaled resolution, that is going to be what is outputted to your stream. So you can do 1280 by 720, you can do 1600 by 900, 1920 by 1080, essentially keeping up with that aspect ratio of 16:9. I personally use 1600 by 900. It's a little bit less strenuous than 1920 by 1080, but better looking than 1280 by 720, something that is being phased out of the HD standard name with YouTube, so of course you're going to start going up in quality. Our downscale filter, we're going to go ahead and do Lanczos and the sharpening scale for 36 sampling, and then make sure that your common FPS value is 60. Of course, our next category is hotkeys. I don't use any hotkeys because I do have a Stream Deck, but if you don't have one, you can include some of these for starting streaming, stopping streaming, pausing recording, doing transitions, fades, switching scenes, muting, unmuting, whatever you want. And it's really helpful that they have it. I personally would use a Stream Deck though, or any other software like that. Alright, so on to our next category is advanced. The process priority is going to be what the name suggests, how prioritized the processing of your streaming through OBS Studio is going to be. So you can set it at normal, but if you want to make sure that you don't have any frame drops or any issues with OBS Studio streaming and running, you can set it above normal, so it'll prioritize it above other stuff like gaming and whatever. You can do this also by launching as an admin. That'll prioritize your OBS as well. Our renderer we're going to set to just leave it as default Direct3D. Our color format we're going to set to NV12 if you do not have it already. Our color space, make sure you're at 709, and our color range, make sure we set it to full. That'll make sure that we have the entire color spectrum at our disposal. And of course you have other stuff as well. You have stream delay if you are playing competitively, you don't want people to stream snipe you. I would make sure that you have automatically reconnect on, so if your OBS Studio cuts out, it'll automatically try to reconnect. And of course other stuff like that, but everything else should be left on default. I haven't changed it since I've been using it 4 to 5 years ago. So once we finish with that, we're going to go back to our main menu for OBS Studio. You do see under the scenes category, we do have a scene already created for us. So if you guys don't know what the scenes and sources is, the best way I can explain it is essentially a scene is a folder and a source is everything within that folder, and what is shown is that folder itself. So back to the scene. So we can go ahead and right click the scene. We're going to rename it. If you're streaming on OBS Studio, of course you have an intro screen. We can go ahead and right click. We can add an intermission screen. We can add, right click, a main screen, and we're going to right click and add an ending screen. You see that we have all of our scenes set up. We're going to go ahead and go to our intro scene, so the folder, and we're going to edit stuff and add stuff into the intro folder that is going to be displayed. So we're going to go ahead and right click under our sources. We're going to go ahead and add the image. We're going to name that intro background. We're going to go ahead and click OK. Once we do so, make sure, prioritize guys, when you guys add new sources into your scenes, anytime you're able to, if it's a media source or a browser source, an image, unload or turn off, inactivate an image, whatever you use when it's not showing. This will turn off, if you're not displaying this scene, it'll turn off any of the resources within the sources. So going back to our intro background, we're going to go ahead and click browse. We're going to go ahead and add the image that we have. So overlay, we're going to go to our intro, our revamped intro. We're going to go ahead, you can see we have it there. We're going to go ahead and you see that it isn't fit to the screen well. We're going to right click on the scene, it's the image itself, go to transform, go to fit to screen, and you can see it's nice, it's all around the edges, and we can go ahead and lock it so that it isn't able to be moved. So you can see we're not able to move it around anymore. It's nice, it's in position, we don't need to change it up anymore. Alright, so my intro screen is a little bit complex. It does have a couple more images and browser sources that we're going to add, and we're going to do it real quick so you guys can just get an idea to see how my starting stream screen really is. So we're going to add another image. We're going to name it Panda Logo Visualizer. Make source available, click OK. Unload the image, make sure that's checked. Go ahead and click Browse. Under our audio visualizer, we do have a Panda logo that you guys are going to see. We're going to go ahead and move it over to the right a little bit. And I do use the software Rainmeter to essentially visualize any audio that I have. So we're going to go ahead and turn on the visualizer, and you guys can't see it yet, but we're going to go ahead and add a display capture, right? So we're going to add visualizer monitor 3, and we're going to go ahead and switch it over to display capture monitor 3, and you guys can see, so I used my left monitor, so my third monitor, to use this as a display that visualizes my audio. And you can see we're going to add the Panda logo in front of it. So we're going to go ahead and add a filter on it. So we take out this purple. This purple is acting as a green screen. So we're going to add chroma key. We're just going to click OK. And we're just going to do magenta. And we're going to go ahead and close it. So you guys can see that we have nothing left on it. We're going to go ahead and transform fit to screen. And then we're going to go ahead and add it right into the image itself. We're going to go ahead and put it right under our Panda logo, so our Panda logo fits above it, and you guys can see it's closely nice and snug. We're going to go ahead and just fit it into it as well as we can, and that looks pretty good. That looks as close as it can to the logo. So once we do that, you guys can see we're going to switch over to the audio source that it needs to be. We're going to go ahead and reload it. Alright, so if we go ahead and play music, you guys can see that it does visualize the audio that is playing from the music. I don't have the music on. What we're going to go ahead and add is a social media pop-up. So it's actually the Nerd or Die one if you guys use the version 2 of it. So we're going to do social media pop-up. It's going to be a added source that we add. It's actually going to be a browser source, and we're going to go ahead and click a local file because it is a file browser source, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to check it out under our channel, right? So we see we're going to go ahead and add the right social pop-up. Once we click OK, you can see we have it right over here. We want to make sure, again guys, anytime you're able to, shut down the source when not visible and refresh the browser when the scene becomes active, just so that it does refresh it, making sure that it does load up well. And we're going to go ahead and add it to our right corner on the bottom of the source. So we're going to go ahead and add a time lapse. So it is a time lapse that we're going to add. You guys can go ahead and see. So you can see that it does cover over the essentially the entire intro screen. What we're going to do is going to fit to the screen, and what we're going to do, making sure that it's at the top of the source so it does cover everything. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click under our filters, we're going to add a chroma key filter, and you guys can see we're going to keep the color as green, which I know it doesn't make sense because it is a black image, but if you guys just bear with me, it will make sense. So if we change our similarity, you guys can actually see that we are able to see more of the image if we add more similarity. But we're actually going to drop it down to 350. We're going to actually raise our smoothness up to 1000, and you guys can start seeing that it does take out the black, but we do see a little bit of the snowfall, if you were to say. We're going to bring up our key color spill reduction all the way as well, so you do see it is a little more prevalent under it. And once we do so, we're going to make sure that we do have a little bit of a contrast. So we're going to bring up our contrast up a bit. We're going to bring our brightness up a little bit as well, just so it makes whatever we see just a little bit brighter as well. And if we close it, you can see it actually is a very nice little snowfall. A good thing to note as well, if you do add media sources or any sources that do add an audio mixer, if the audio mixer that you added from the scene or the source is not a needed audio mixer and it is clumping up your audio mixer that you have for your desktop audio or your mic, you can go ahead and click the settings and you can hide it, and it takes it out so you only have what is necessary on your audio mixer. Moving on to our intermission scene, you can see again it's blank, but we do have an intro scene. We're gonna add real quick, same thing that we have for the rest. We're gonna add intermission background. You can see if we do want to, we can add an existing background, but it'll be the exact same thing as our intro, and we need new stuff, so we're not gonna do it. Making sure unload image when not showing, we're gonna go ahead and click the browse, and we're gonna go ahead and add our intermission overlay, and you can see that we have it right over here. Same thing, we're gonna go ahead and right click, go to transform, fit to screen. We have a nice little intermission screen, and this is gonna be our image. So what are we gonna add to our image, you're saying? Well, this is gonna be our live chat browser. We're gonna have a Hall of Subs. We're gonna have our face cam, of course, right here. And we can add a nice little spot for our social media pop-up again. So lock the image, right click, go ahead and add. If we wanna add our social media pop-up, go ahead to browser, and you can see instead of creating a new one, we can use the same social media pop-up that we already had before, and we can just place it again. Same place exactly where we put it the first time, to the bottom right, go ahead and lock it in, and it's nice and added in there, right? For our Hall of Subs, Twitch sadly does not have, or Streamlabs does not have a list for your subscribers that is through Streamlabs. So what I do personally for mine is a list, an actual text list. So we're gonna add our source, a text source. We're gonna do Hall of Subs, and we're gonna go ahead and right click, making sure that it clicks OK. You can change whatever that you want. Our font, the font that I'll be using is Babus, and we're gonna go ahead and making sure that the size probably does work. We're gonna add text, so we're just gonna do panda, 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 and we're gonna go ahead and we can change up text transform. We can make it all uppercase, lowercase, changing up the color. We can add a background opacity, background color. We can align it to the center, vertical alignment. We can add an outline if you want as well around the text. So if you have like white on white and you want to make sure that it has a border around it, you can make the outline black. And whatever you need, we're gonna go ahead and just add it into this, and you guys can see, so we do have a Hall of Subs right there. We have a list, and if you actually have enough names in your Hall of Subs, you can actually go ahead, if we have, say, we have enough room for 3 there, but we have 5 pandas and you don't want it to go over, what you can do is go to filters, right click the filter, and go ahead and add a scroll. And what this scroll will do will actually scroll through like an actual list, and we can add a vertical speed of, say, 10. Okay, actually that's too low, we'll do 100. So 100, it's nice and slow. You're able to see names, not too fast. And you can see, so we do still have that extra naming. So what we're gonna do is limit the height. And once we do the height, we can add, so we'll go ahead and play around with numbers. We're gonna go ahead and find the perfect height. 750 is getting close, so we'll do 770. And that does seem like the perfect number. And we're gonna go ahead and move it down a little bit so you can see that it does limit the height. So if we add extra names to the Hall of Subs, it doesn't extend out and take over the image that we have under. So if we add even more pandas, it just adds onto it. And so you can see if we do change the name to, we'll say, Amy, then if we actually go through the list enough, you guys can see we have Amy there, but it automatically jumps over to Panda. So if you want to show a difference in it, just add another space in between it so that when the list goes over again, you guys can actually see that the list does restart. There is that nice little spacing that shows, oh, the list ended, we're just going through the list again, because it is scrolling through it through our added filter. A nice little fun feature that I have for the live chat, next to it I do have enough space for a red pulsing dot that signifies that you're live. We're just gonna add a media source. We're gonna do live red dot. That's gonna be the name of it. Click OK. Make sure that it does a loop and closing the file when inactive. And we're gonna go ahead and go to our intermission. We're gonna go to our revamp, and we do have that red dot that shows that you guys can see. It does make a nice little live chat, kind of like a recording, but it does show that it's live. It's really cool of a feature. I like to add it. And of course, this big white space that we have, we're gonna add our face cam on there. I am using my face cam to record, so we're gonna add my hand cam that we actually have. So of course, video capture device, we're gonna go ahead and name it through our camera C920. We're gonna go ahead and choose the C920 that we are using, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna make sure that we have it configured. You're able to change your resolution type. I am using a different resolution for my main screen, so we're actually not gonna choose it. But of course, just leaving everything essentially as default except your resolution type, making it 1920 by 1080, or changing it up if you like. And once you do so, just essentially filling it into the box and making sure you are able to use your arrow keys right here to change it up if you would like, and add it and move it around essentially to where the edge of the border is, and just filling it in. I of course can't use my face cam because you guys see it right over here. And then for our live chat, you can go ahead and add a browser source like that. Whatever you're using, you can set it as whether it's a Streamlabs chat or a Restream chat, whatever software it is, it's gonna be a browser. You're gonna add as live chat. We're gonna go ahead and click OK. Change the URL for whatever browser source that you're using. Again, shutdown source, refresh browser scene, whatever you're using, go ahead and add it into here, and it's gonna be your live chat. Fill it into the box where it's gonna be perfect for you to see. Of course, this isn't gonna be mine. My screen looks a lot better for my scene collection. If you guys wanna see what my actual intermission screen looks like, you guys can actually check it out live at twitch.tv/IronPandaGaming. I do stream on it every night. If you do stream on Twitch, is the Twitch cups that I really love. You're able to change it under streamlabs.com. And what we're gonna do really quick, we're just gonna name it Twitch Cup. We're gonna go ahead and change the URL. So you're gonna add the Streamlabs URL that they give you for your Twitch cup. And you are able to select an image for the Twitch cup. And we're gonna go ahead and click it. Once you guys do see, this is my little Twitch cup that we actually have here. And you guys can see all of the logos, the subs, all of that just falling into the Twitch cup. That is actual like movement that will fill up the Twitch cup. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna resize it and add it right over here. So the panda is sitting under our live chat right over there. Same thing like we did for our intro screen, we're actually gonna add the media source for our overlaying texture. And then we're gonna go ahead and just fill that overlaying texture and fit it to our screen. Okay, so one thing I do have different from my intro screen, from my intermission screen, is actually another media source for a spinning panda logo. And we're gonna go ahead and add that. Make sure that it loops, closing the file when inactive. And then we're gonna go over to our channel art. We're gonna do our spinning panda, add the optimized version. And you can see it does spin, it continues spinning, even though it is a 2-second video. We're gonna go ahead and resize it and place it right next to our intermission, just so that it represents our brand, showing our color, our Twitch cup. Everything is essentially branding my channel at this point. But of course, intermission isn't what you're gonna be using 99% of the time. Our main screen is what we are here for. So, of course, you're gonna have an overlay. Most streamers do have an overlay for where they're streaming. That is going to be our image. Main screen overlay is what we're gonna be titling it. We're gonna unload the image when we're not showing it. And we're gonna go ahead and go to adding our main screen overlay. So, we're gonna go ahead and add it. You can add, we're gonna go ahead and change it up to the one that I actually need. So this one is my current main screen overlay that I use for streaming. You can see that it leaves it blank. It is just an image. It does have placements though for recent donations, top donations, recent cheers, top cheers, and recent subscribers. We're actually gonna show how to add that real quick through Streamlabs. If you're using OBS Studio, I'm guessing that's what you're using. That's what I personally use. And on the bottom left, we do of course have some added space. So we're gonna add our spinning panda logo again, making sure that we continue with the branding of the channel, and we're gonna go ahead and resize it. So at the bottom right, you guys can see we do have my logo just spinning on a corner continuously. Just some added stuff, making sure that white space is being used to show your branding for whatever purposes. You don't want to leave space empty. That just leaves something to be desired to be added there. But of course, they're here for the gameplay. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to add game capture. And this game capture scene right here is going to capture any gameplay that you're going to do. So we're going to capture a specific window under our mode, and once we do so, whether you're playing a game, it'll show under window. So if we have Valorant up or Fortnite up, it'll show Valorant or Fortnite up under that screen. And we're going to go ahead and click OK, and making sure that, of course, fitting to screen, so you can see it fits to the screen, and just have it added. And we want to make sure that the gameplay is under our overlay, so that the gameplay doesn't overlap the overlay. You want to make sure the overlay overlaps the gameplay. You can go ahead and add extra our face cam and our webcam positioning, of course adding that similarly to how we did our intermission screen, our video capture device. This is actually going to be perfect because now I can actually show you guys how to add my webcam positioning. So my webcam positioning, we're going to go ahead, we're going to activate a custom. We're going to do 1920 by 1080. We're going to go ahead and click OK. And once we do so, it does show our webcam placement. We are able to add our webcam nicely into here, right? And if you want to crop out, you can click Alt. And once we do so, we can actually drag it down a little bit so we can only show stuff that's needed. Alt again. And once you do see that it's cropped, this image does turn green to show that there is spacing for what you do crop out. We're going to just go ahead and switch around stuff that we've added and add extra just to fill in the box. And I mean, it gets pretty close enough so you guys can see that is essentially our webcam placement. You guys can see the camera does go perfectly into there. Same thing that we're going to do for our webcam, just move it into there and resize it. Of course I can't do it because I'm using my webcam right now. The last thing that we need, of course, is to add and fill in our recent donos, our top donos, our added features for recent events. So what you're gonna do is stream labels is a text source. So what we're gonna do is add our new one. So we're gonna do recent dono, and once we do so, click OK, and it's gonna be a read from file feature. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go over to my folder and our stream labels folder that we have added. We're gonna go through and look for the most recent dono. So you can actually type in recent, and you can see most recent donator. That's the one that we're gonna need. So we do have our most recent donator. You can change it up if you don't like the font, of course, changing it up for what you're gonna use. Again, we're gonna use Babus just so it continues on with it. And it looks perfect. We're gonna go ahead and actually make sure that we have the vertical and the alignment for horizontal under centered. And once we do so, we're gonna go ahead and resize it nicely into our overlay. And once we do so, just moving it in. One thing that you can do is add a nice little motion. So again, what I do for my main intermission, my main screen, is we're gonna add a nice scroll. We're gonna add a horizontal scroll this time of 15, or we're gonna add it of 100 actually. 100 looks pretty good. And then it's gonna be nice. You guys can actually see it goes through the entire name and showing the number. So if someone has an extremely long name, it won't actually just go through. It will show enough of their name and the amount that they've donated. Same thing for top donation, recent cheer, top cheer, everything is going to be a text file. So we're just gonna go ahead and speed through that, and we're just gonna show you. Alright, so if you guys see, I just added all of the text files for the most recent donation, cheers, whatever. I did kind of rush through it, so I mean, of course it doesn't look the best, but you want to make sure that you resize it all to the same size. I did it as close as I can. The top cheer is kind of a little bit bigger than the rest and out of place, but this is just to show you guys how to do it. And of course you guys can resize it perfectly. And we do essentially have everything added to the main screen that I have. The last thing that I would recommend is, of course, alerts. This would be through your Streamlabs, so of course you add it as a browser source, and you can just go ahead and do Streamlabs alerts. And once you do so, go ahead, change the URL for your alerts, whatever it is. And once you do so, make sure shut down source when not visible, refresh browser when it becomes active, and just go ahead, add it wherever you want, whether it's in the middle or to the right, wherever that you have it added, and just go ahead and do that. And essentially our main screen is finished. Alright, so lastly we do have our ending screen. Our ending screen, of course, if you have a nice little song that you play while you end your stream, very simple. Go ahead and add an image, ending screen. We're gonna go ahead and unload the image when it's not showing. We're gonna go ahead again, add the image that we have for our ending screen, for our thank you for watching screen, whatever that you have. We're gonna go ahead, make sure that it does fill in the screen, fitting into the screen. For my ending screen, of course, adding the media source for the spinning logo that we have, just so it does fill in white space. Go ahead and lock it in. Lastly, we're gonna add another media source for our overlaying texture. We're gonna go ahead and fill it into the screen as well. And lastly, when you do end, you wanna make sure that there is a sense for your social medias to get shown on your screen. So just add the pop-up again, using anything that you already have, just so it does keep the similar brand, the similar theme going around your entire screen. And as you guys can see, that's our ending screen. We are essentially finished with all of our scenes. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys have any other questions or need help setting up your OBS studio, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I know this video was a little bit weird. I did have to use Streamlabs OBS to record me setting up OBS Studio, but I'll help you guys out if you guys need to. Check out other videos if you guys are trying to set up and begin streaming. I do have some other stuff like that on setting up a Discord server or setting up your Twitch channel. Reach out to me on Discord. If not, reach out to me on my social medias. I do have Instagram and Twitter. They're both at Iron Panda Gaming. Or if you guys want to catch me live on Twitch, I do stream every night at 8 to 9 p.m. PST. So don't hesitate to reach out. I'll help you guys as best as I could. Thank you for watching. Thank you guys for hanging out. I'll see you guys next time.